The young people deserve listening and support, not suppression. It has now been 1 year since our young people, often referred to as Gen Z, took to the streets. By and large, the protests began as a peaceful protest against rising taxation, lack of opportunities, and what they described as a system that increasingly ignores their voices. They were expressing what many Kenyans had already felt and expressed. These youth-led demonstrations reminded us of the power of civic consciousness and the rightful place of young people in shaping the country's direction. However, the protests soon degenerated into violent encounters and brutal use of force, leading to a huge loss of lives, especially of the young people. As bishops, we appeal to the youth to exercise their rights peacefully and within the law. Since then, the church and other civic actors have sought to engage them meaningfully, offering platforms for dialogue and participation. The teaching of Pope Francis of happy memory is indeed timely. Quote, "Young people must be helped to develop their talents and responsibilities in a spirit of service to others." End quote. Christus Vivit 242. Rather than nurturing constructive youth participation, some state agencies have chosen to suppress it. We have witnessed the harassment, abduction, and in some cases, killing of young people whose only offense was raising their voice for accountability and justice. These incidents have left families in mourning and communities in a state of fear. The government's primary responsibility is to protect its citizens, not to threaten, silence, or punish them. A society that instills fear in its youth for simply speaking out is a society walking away from justice. Our young people are not enemies of the state. They are citizens with valid concerns who should be heard and supported in building a better future for all. Many Kenyan citizens are voicing these same concerns. As we remember those who died in the protests of 2024, we pray for those young souls. They should not have lost their lives, yet we cannot bring them back. It is fair to give them a fitting memorial. Young people, we appeal to you to avoid any violent encounters during your protests and instead demonstrate your maturity. We call on the security agents to ensure we do not have a repeat of the protected goons who brought violence in the recent protests. How can goons work together with the police? We demand justice for all those murdered and those shot, and conviction of all the perpetrators. These tragedies, on the other hand, should not be exploited by political operators to gain mileage, gathering around the mourners of victims only to deliver personal advertisements while offering no relief or solutions. Chronism and tokenism undermine just governance. We are deeply troubled by the politicized distribution of public funds presented as development programs. Any development project or initiative requires proper planning to determine the needs and modalities. The distribution of vast amounts of money and assets while neglecting basic concerns, for example, capitation in schools, rebates for dialysis, bursaries and loans for TVETs and universities, etc., is misplaced. This opaque and equal distribution of goodies is subjugating, no matter which political divide or personality who carries it out. This practice has entrenched a culture of cronyism and tokenism, which is the same as corruption and bribery, where proximity to power determines who receives services and who remains neglected. In the final analysis, it is a form of personal or state advertisement. Development cannot be reduced to transactional loyalty. Leadership must be exercised for national welfare and not in a biased way. Otherwise, some communities are uplifted while others are left out, not because they lack anything, but because they lack political favor. This is unjust. As Catholic bishops, we remind our public officials and political leaders that leadership is a sacred trust. Governance should serve the common good, not partisan interests. Resources belong to all Kenyans, and development is a right. True progress will only come when policies are fair, institutions are strong, and public service is grounded in integrity and equity. Indeed, quote, authority must be exercised legitimately, guided by a moral law, grounded in God, end quote. Compendium of the Social Doctrine of the Church, number 396.